The movie opens by establishing Seabrook as a town where different monster groups, zombies, werewolves, and aliens now live together thanks to a mysterious galactic moonstone. The main characters, zombie Zed and part alien Addison, explain that this same moonstone legendarily crashed on nearby Mount Rayburn, creating two new monster species in two separate isolated worlds, the Daywalkers and the vampires. The moonstone also created the blood fruit, a crucial food source both species need to survive. Fear and suspicion turned the two groups into sworn enemies, leading them to lock themselves away from each other until now as the blood fruit orchards begin to die. Zed, aiming to be a starting football player at Mountain College, is preparing for an intensive summer football camp, while Addison is heading to a world-class cheer camp, determined to make cheer captain. Their friends, including the werewolf Willa, are also focusing on their own summer plans. However, Zed's modified car, which he is allowing his friends to borrow for a camping trip, breaks down spectacularly after his Z-band malfunctions, stranding them. This unexpected breakdown leads the group to split up to find help, sensing that something unusual may have affected Zed's Z-band. Zed stumbles into the hidden world of the Daywalkers, a community who harness solar power and believe vampires are ruthless enemies. He is immediately captured by the Daywalkers, who mistake him for a vampire spy. Nova, the Daywalker leader's daughter, intervenes, pointing out Zed's lack of fangs proves he isn't a vampire. Zed, desperate to avoid being air-fried, agrees to help them harvest blood fruit. Nova's father, Commander Bright, reluctantly puts Zed under Nova's responsibility, warning her that their enemy, the vampires, will destroy them to get the last of the dying fruit. Meanwhile, Addison accidentally enters the subterranean world of the vampires, a nocturnal community that thrives in the dark, believing Daywalkers are lying smooth talkers. She is saved by the charismatic vampire Victor just before being captured by his auntie, the Eldress, who holds a deep distrust of outsiders. Addison demonstrates she is not a Daywalker by using her alien-powered Luma lens, but she is still taken prisoner. Victor suggests she be put to work helping them pick the fruit instead of being locked in the dungeon. The Eldress agrees, putting Addison under Victor's watch, and instructs him to show the Daywalkers who rules the mountain. The two separated groups, Daywalkers led by Nova and vampires led by Victor, converge on the ancient, dwindling blood fruit orchard. A force field blocks them from the fruit, and they discover it requires 3 keys to open. Zed and Addison, reunited at the site, propose an alliance. The young leaders from both sides will work together to find the keys and agree to split the harvest, citing their Seabrook friends, a zombie, an alien, and werewolves, as proof that different monsters can cooperate. Nova and Victor, despite the deep-seated prejudices and secret individual orders from their leaders to secure all the fruit, agree to the temporary truce. They set up camp in a spooky abandoned site that shows evidence of having been used by both Daywalkers and vampires in the past, a sign of their shared history that their current animosity denies. As the Daywalkers and vampires settle into their separate but shared camp, their animosity surfaces in childish arguments and competitive songs, showcasing their respective pride and mutual distrust. Zed tries to instill a sense of teamwork, but the old rivalries prove stubborn. Amidst the chaos, Nova and Victor find themselves inexplicably drawn to each other, both admitting to having visions of the other, revealing a deeper connection that challenges the history of hatred between their peoples. The film sets the stage for the challenge of finding the 3 keys, which will force the two communities to truly cooperate or risk the blood fruit dying out and escalating their ancient war. The quest for survival and the possibility of new connections now hang in the balance. The initial steps of the quest to find the keys are fraught with conflict as the Daywalkers and vampires struggle to cooperate. Zed and Addison push Nova and Victor to lead by example. Nova and Victor, despite their burgeoning connection and the startling realization that they've been having visions of each other, constantly clash due to the ingrained prejudice of their cultures. The first key's clue points the groups toward a riddle concerning the moonstone's energy. Eliza, using her scientific knowledge, and Willa, relying on her werewolf instincts, prove essential. Eliza's sensor, intended to track the Z-band interference, leads them to a hidden chamber where the clue suggests a balance between the sun and moon is necessary. Nova and Victor are forced to combine their powers, Nova's solar-based energy and Victor's dark-based powers, to activate a mechanism revealing the first key. This act of forced collaboration, while successful, immediately reignites the rivalry as they debate which side's power was more crucial. Meanwhile, Ray, a zealous Daywalker, and Vera, a dramatic vampire, actively try to sabotage the truce, believing their leaders are being manipulated and their people's survival depends on claiming all the blood fruit. They plant false clues and spread misinformation to sow discord among the younger members, fearing that cooperation is a weakness that will lead to their destruction. As the second key's riddle is revealed, it speaks of a shared memory leading the group to the abandoned camp's library. Here they discover old texts and drawings detailing a time when Daywalkers and vampires lived in harmony, sharing the mountain and the blood fruit before the current schism. This historical revelation shocks both Nova and Victor's teams, challenging the narratives of absolute hatred they were raised with. Nova and Victor realize that their parents, Commander Bright and the Eldress, have been perpetuating a lie to maintain control, stemming from an ancient fear or misunderstanding. Nova confides in Zed and Victor in Addison, seeking guidance on how to reconcile their newfound knowledge with their duties to their people. The conflict reaches a breaking point when Ray and Vera's meddling causes a catastrophic failure during the search for the third key, trapping several members from both teams. This emergency forces everyone, including Ray and Vera, to drop their rivalries and work together, saving those who are trapped. This selfless shared experience finally breaks the ice and the young monsters unite. They successfully find the third key, a moonstone shard that resonates with Zed's Z-band, confirming the connection between the current energy pulse and the ancient conflict. With all three keys secured, they prepare to return to the orchard, determined not just to share the fruit but to force their parents to acknowledge the truth about their shared past and build a peaceful future. Zed the zombie and Addison the part alien find themselves at an abandoned summer camp after a bizarre energy pulse stemming from a dying moonstone and the bloodfruit orchards on Mount Rayburn forced their groups and two new monster species, the Daywalkers and Vampires, into a fragile alliance. The Daywalkers, led by Nova, and the Vampires, led by Victor, are in a desperate race for the last of the bloodfruit, believing only one side can survive. The access to the orchard is sealed by a gate requiring 3 keys. The first key's clue, hinting at a shared history, forces Nova and Victor to work together. Using their combined Daywalker and Vampire powers to solve a puzzle involving the moon and sun, they retrieve the first key. Despite their initial reluctance, this collaboration and the realization that they've both had premonitions of each other begins to break down their deep-seated cultural prejudices. Zed and Addison meanwhile notice that the mysterious pulse that fried Zed's Z-band is getting stronger and will soon reach Seabrook, endangering all their friends and family. The second clue leads them to a hidden room featuring ancient carvings of both Daywalker and Vampire symbols existing in harmony. This revelation confirms to Nova and Victor that their people once coexisted, a truth hidden by their distrustful elders Commander Bright and the Eldress. As they work to unlock the third key, the final puzzle reveals a contradiction. It seems designed for a competition, stating only one team can win. Before they can resolve this, the escalating energy pulse causes Zed to nearly zombie out, intensifying the urgency to find the source of the distress. Following the pulse's signal, Addison, Willa, and Eliza find a distressed Zed who risked his safety to discover that the pulse emanates from the bloodfruit roots beneath a broken tower. They realize the pulse is a cry for help, not an attack, and that the tower is acting as an antenna magnifying the signal. Zed dangerously pushes himself into a zombie form to help remove the tower, sacrificing his humanity for the greater good, but the resulting explosion and fire only make the pulse worse. Back at the camp, Daywalker Ray and Vampire Vera, clinging to the old ways, secretly inform their leaders Commander Bright and the Eldress that Nova and Victor have betrayed them. The Daywalker and Vampire leaders confront the young monsters at the orchard just as the final key is activated, opening the gate to the fruit. Commander Bright revealing he ordered Nova to seize all the fruit attacks, inadvertently destroying nearly half the remaining supply. The elders immediately declare war and retreat, abandoning the young monsters. Victor, Nova, and their teams realize they were manipulated by their leaders' fear and distrust. Addison, Eliza, and Willa discover the true source of the pulse is an underground chamber where a dark stone and light stone, moonstones, are meant to be placed together in a cauldron. The two moonstones which created all the monsters and the bloodfruit must be reunited to heal the roots and save the orchards. Nova and Victor courageously sneak back to their villages to retrieve the light stone and dark stone respectively, while their people prepare for battle. Ray and Vera, having witnessed the devastating consequences of their leaders' actions, have a change of heart and help Nova and Victor escape. Victor, Nova, and the Seabrook gang rush back to the chamber. Zed, seeing the final barrier, attempts to fully transform into a zombie to break through, but Addison stops him, realizing the solution lies in unity. Nova and Victor finally place both the light stone and dark stone into the cauldron. The two moonstones fuse, sending a wave of restorative energy through the roots, healing the orchards and stopping the pulse. Zed and his friends are instantly returned to their normal non-monster forms. The Daywalkers and Vampires return to find a revitalized orchard, realizing they were all connected by the moonstones and that their separation nearly caused their mutual destruction. Nova and Victor, now hailed as true leaders, announce that the Daywalkers and Vampires will establish a yearly camp to maintain the balance and peace, embracing their intertwined destinies. Zed and Addison, seeing the profound power of connection and unity, decide to skip their summer camps and return home to Seabrook, prioritizing time with their friends and family over personal ambition. As they part ways with Nova and Victor, a mysterious seismic rumble hints at yet another monster discovery. If you enjoy watching this video, then subscribe to Angel Recaps for the latest movies explanation.